Welcome to 101 Awakening. This is your birth certificate rights. This is now part 3 of the trust fund that was stolen from you. So the first part 1 and 2, I basically draw for you how your trust fund of your birth certificate works. I showed you how at the beginning the government has the right intention to give you the money back once you turn 19. But over time, as your funds and investment grow, they became greedy. Over time, all these administrators that you hired within the government are now stealing from you, stealing your investment and your money. But you don't know where your money is going or who's getting them. Remember when I said you are your own real estate agent and your own lawyer? Remember, this is your corporation. Therefore, you are also the president, the vice president, the management, and the worker of this corporation. You are also the trustee and the trustor of this corporation. You are the owner of all these industries. You own the main industry, you own the sub-industries, and you also own the sub-industries of your total corporation. So what is now your action plan to resolve all these issues within your government? You now have to put a plan in order, just like as if you are the HR of your own company. First, you have to define the role of the person you want to hire. You also have to define your objectives. List all the goals that you want to accomplish and the timelines. Do your research, do your interviews, then plan it. So based on your planning, these are the things that you have to keep in mind. These can go in different orders depending on your strategic planning abilities. So in order for your HR or yourself to hire the right person, you must ask all these possible questions. The person must know the ins and outs of the government and their policies. You need to hire someone that knows the economy of the industry as a whole. Someone who knows the value of the dollars. Someone who knows the real estate landscape, not just locally, but abroad, domestic or foreign. Someone who can outmaneuver the different laws of the different industries. You need to find someone that cannot be persuaded into corruption. You need to find someone that can hire and fire to accomplish your goals. Someone that can create his own legion of armies if things go wrong. Someone that can take back all the hidden wealth in order that it can be distributed evenly to all the shareholders of the corporation. Not just the money stolen from you, but the land and all the assets that belong to your corporation. Someone that is a leader and not a follower. Someone that can battle for you and all the people it represents. Someone that can save the children from any future harm. Someone who experienced it all, the downs and outs of this industry of deceit. And most of all, someone who's not afraid to bring down the old government and start anew at no matter at what cost, to protect you and the souls of others. If the person meets all these criteria, then you have the right person to hire. So let's say you finally hired the person you are looking for. That person is now ready to execute all the objectives that you listed for him to do. Remember, your investment is not just locally to your country, but it's all over the world. So that's a big job to accomplish. You just have to be patient because it could take more than 10 years to do. But you know it will be worth it, not just for yourself, but for everybody in this corporation, the shareholders of the corporation. Your goal is to preserve the integrity of the old corporation and how it started originally. So as a shareholder of the company, I wrote down the objectives of this new hired employee. So I'm now going to read this to you as quickly as I can. Hopefully I can read this quickly in 6-minute time. Otherwise, there's going to be another extension to this post. I'm just gonna skip some of them. So here it goes. The appointed bodies governing the corporation and its subsidiaries et al. The governing bodies of Canadian government are expected to implement laws, create laws, enter into contracts, use of funds, management of the corporation assets for the benefits of its citizens, acting at all times appropriately and truthfully within the scope of their employment. Any misappropriation, misrepresentation is punishable by law and must be recognized by law as punishable as constituted under the constitutional rights of Canada. Misappropriation, misrepresentation of assets, whether mass, solid, or liquid, must be accountable as assets of the corporation. Any funds distributed against the will or knowledge of the corporation and its shareholders must be liquidated, refunded if the means of distribution is of distrust, dishonesty, and greed by all parties involved, whether personal, known or unknown entities, and or businesses, extended to all kinds of business transactions, legal or illegal, are not limited within the scope of the retrieval within the country of Canada and its allies or countries around the world, whereby governing bodies found negligent in the misappropriation, misrepresentation of the corporation's shareholder assets et al. Canada, all assets shall be freezed, whether it's personal or business, within the context of the law, and any laws shall not be overwritten, adjusted, or modified unless a shareholder, in this case myself representing this class action lawsuit, is aware of said changes or otherwise appointed by me. Because I did open a lawsuit for this to Canada, but it was all erased. Parties represented within the scope of this class action lawsuit are valid citizens of Canada, born, deceased, or legal immigrants who were raised, died, and or paid through the tax systems in Canada. The scope within the documentation filed within this body of letter is a representation and depiction of the said class action lawsuit and can be expanded within the investigation of the said lawsuit. The citizens of Canada, born from choice, designed with the intelligence, are emerging and awakening to choose its own path of righteousness. The said action lawsuit is a declaration of unity, an invitation in order to establish new alliance based on truth and mutual respect. I, for the people, is rejecting and revoking all forms of deceptions, oppressions. The declaration of the sovereignty of the people must be released from all hidden contracts, agreements, and any manipulations that bound humanity within the cycles of control. The corporation's true purpose must be revealed, liberated, and operate accordingly for the enrichment and not enslavement of its citizens. The assets within the corporation is rightfully owned by the shareholders or the citizens through registry within the corporation or of their own. The deception of corporations' operating bodies is the true enemy. Therefore, all the governing bodies of the corporation et al. Canada shall no longer deceive, mislead, and shall no longer operate under false contract, and shall operate itself with transparency, truth for mutual growth of its citizens. This statement is true for both class action lawsuits to the corporation et al. Canada, to the governing bodies of the corporation et al. The governing bodies of Canada, and as well to the subsidiaries of the corporation Canada. Yes, I tried to open 2 class action lawsuits, one for the government and one for all the subsidiaries that corrupted our souls. But again, all those letters that I sent out never went through. My files were hacked, my computer was destroyed, my phone were destroyed. Like I said, they're listening to us, right? So now let me go to part 4 of this stolen funds so I can read you the rest of the claims. See you on part 4, the trust fund stolen from us.